Hey there. I know you may be busy, you may want to scroll away, and well, I get that. You know, you have free will, and I will not condemn you or judge you. Now, if you do want to say, and you believe it's for a purpose, well, I believe it's because of God. I believe God put this video in front of you because He need you to see someone else that's gone through maybe what you have gone through, and that's you right now. I encourage you to stay until the end. And so I want to talk a little bit about myself, about the struggle that I have been having and still struggling with very much. And that is, well, anger. Now, you all know anger as when people maybe swear, maybe hurt another, maybe kill other people, say some other bad things, do a lot of bad things like, I don't know, like robbery, like killing, gang fights, a lot of things spark from anger. The thing is that anger is a two-way street, how I see it now. And I see a bunch of examples of wrath, bad anger, unjust anger, and anger that I think I've been prompted to use, And when I was younger, when I was maybe a year from prior, I used to swear a lot. I used to get angry at my family and my friends a lot. I used to yell at them, to get angry at them, to maybe even hurt them in like grade 7 and grade 8. And man, I really just didn't feel right. Like now, I don't feel good. I feel like I wish I could go back and just reform all of them, man. But that's the thing. We were given a chance to do good and to do bad, and well, I did unjust things, unrighteous things. And so, for any of you out there who are maybe in the same position, maybe don't know how to control your anger, like I did. I didn't know how to control my anger very well. And still now I'm still trying to do better and better, even though I'm maybe doing better. And I still want to just share for any of you who feel like you are maybe alone in this, that there are many people on this planet, 8 billion. So definitely more than one person who's struggling with something. And so I remember that the time that I first finally, thought of, actually condemning this anger was because I was reminded of something. And it was through a verse. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was in one of Paul's letters, St. Paul's letters, where he said that, the pagans, it was a letter to Titus, or Timothy, to where he said and told them that the pagans of this world are the ones who use unclean words, unclean lips. And man, I just really thought about that and took some time to think about it. I'm like, man, I'm just wondering how many times, I sweared, I got angry for unjust reason, and, I want to say that for any of you who feel like you don't know what to do, then I would like to share how to, control it, and how to start to teach yourself, to teach your heart, to teach your mind, to sort of encapsulate that anger. And one of them is reminding yourself that even though you may not physically hurt somebody, right, you still have the idea of hurting somebody. And it's actually said by Jesus in the New Testament. Matthew 5, verse 21, 22. You have heard that it was said to the people long ago, you shall not murder, and anyone who murders will be subject to judgment. But I tell you that anyone who is angry with a brother or sister will be subject to judgment. Now, what he means is that, yes, the term brother and sister in the Bible is referring to other Christians, other brothers and sisters of Christ. And if you feel like, maybe you're getting mad at all those brothers and sisters of God, or even it could be outright family, then Here, I think, and what I need to think about more, and I still need to constantly think about that, to love them. That they're there for you. They're to care for you. They're to love you. To sometimes even get you, going through life. And, instead of wanting to hurt them, they're there for us. And a good way to condemn your anger, especially against other sisters and brothers of Christ, to start thinking of you just loving them, of you just comforting them, inspiring them, encouraging them. And man, a lot of times I just like to share. To just share what I've learned, share the virtuous things I've learned, and just to encourage and to sort of preach to those that I love, that I care about, and I used to hate so much, that I used to swear at so much. So, I'm sorry, but I always just like feel disappointed in myself whenever I think of like how often I used to lash out. And maybe that's you, you feel like, and I still feel like maybe I lash out a little bit too much, or I get a little bit too angry in my mind. And that's, okay. We will get angry and we will sin. But we all need to learn that the devil should not win. At the end of the day, it's God who wins. And so to slowly water sort of that seed inside of you of just righteous anger. That's the other thing. When you want to use anger, when you're angry, instead encapsulate it. Try to also train your brain to encapsulate and pour it into something that you care about. When you're passionate about something, you remember, I always like this passage in this part. It's called the Temple Courts, or Jesus in the Temple Courts, and to where he basically gets really pissed off, but not because he's angry at the people, because he's angry that they are turning the church or the temple into a den of robbers, basically somewhere where stealing can happen. And that's not supposed to happen. And when you're in God's house, there shouldn't be any fear of anybody stealing. So what Jesus did is, instead of letting all that anger out on the people directly because they maybe did wrong, because they sinned, he did it in a way that was passionate to the thing that he was passionate about. And Jesus allowed that anger not because he hated the people again, it's because he was passionate about the thing he was preaching about. When he saw somebody hurting that, what he had been preaching and working for, he got angry. But when we get angry, when I got angry at something that was maybe just unrighteous, maybe when I got angry at somebody swearing at me, I shouldn't care. I shouldn't mind, because it's not affecting the thing that I'm passionate about. If somebody says something mean to me, so be it. But if they say something mean, or something unkind, or try to mock God, man, I will not hold back. Okay? And it's not as like an attempt to scare anybody, even though nobody should be scared of me. But in the sense that we should all be passionate towards God. When somebody mocks God, when somebody hurts God's reputation, we should take action. We should be angry, but passionately. And man, I really have been trying to, condemn this anger more, this unrighteous anger. Because recently it was today where I let out some very unjust wrath, and I didn't feel pleased. I felt like I just dropped the weights, basically, like, well, not the weights really, but like dropped all that training myself to not be angry and not show my anger. And also for those who feel like they can't, you know, hold back when somebody hurts them. You know, that they're like, oh man, I'm just like, I want to, like, no, okay, shut, you know, chill out sometimes. Maybe meditate in that moment. Or there's a verse, it's Matthew, you know, Matthew 5, verse 39, and it reads, "But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also." Now, maybe a lot of you have heard of this, and like people, you know, debating on it because they think it's a good point against God. But basically, what Jesus is saying is that we should not want to take revenge. When somebody hurts us, let them hurt us more. Because realistically, for one, we are only suffering a little bit of what Jesus suffered. And two is that they may hurt us, hurt our flesh, but they aren't attacking us spiritually. They can't do anything to us spiritually. As long as we stay in our faith. And man, it's a thing that I always think about, is that to not take revenge. Because when you take revenge on somebody, the sword is only pointed to you. God tells us that when we fight back against somebody, instead of the sword being pointed at them because they hurt us, the sword is also pointed to us then. So, man, whoever needs to like condemn their anger, who feels like they shouldn't be taking out their anger on people, maybe if they swear to them, maybe if they swear at them, maybe if they hurt them, man, I hope that whoever, you know, is dealing with that knows that God doesn't want us to hurt another, even though they hurt us. Instead, let them. Allow them. Not because God hates us, not because God wants us to be hurt. No, because God does not want to see us be hurt. Because we want to hurt back. We shouldn't want to hurt people. We should want to love our enemies. That's why he tells us to love our enemies instead of cursing for them, or not for them, cursing on them and swearing at them. Instead, pray for them. Pray for their safety. Pray for their well-being. Because at the end of the day, if we hurt them when they hurt us, are we any better? Are we doing anything better for ourselves? No, we're not. We're simply just lighting a fire. And man, sometimes God needs us to put out that fire. That burning fire that's uncontrollable, instead control it, condemn it into a passion, into heart, into love, into peace, into care. And I know it sounds like a lot of yapping, so you know, I'll close it off just saying that I hope that anybody, whoever this reaches, whoever sees this, that they are encouraged, that they see that, well, for one, it's not only them who's going through this, but also that sometimes to condemn and to let go of our anger, we need to start shaping ourselves, to repent first, and then after start shaping ourselves. Maybe if you have hidden anger in your mind against others, to start loving them in your mind, to start wanting to care for them, comfort them. Even though you may want to hate on them, comfort them. Or at least don't think negatively, don't think of hurting them. Think of loving them. Just like how God, even though we hurt him, heals us. And for those who can't contain their anger, when somebody hurts them, or just generally, to remember that when we take anger out on somebody, the sword is pointed to us. And when we take revenge, same thing. When we take revenge on somebody and hurt somebody, we should not expect them to simply not do anything back, or for something not to hurt us back. So I hope that you took at least, or at least maybe got something out of this. Really, it was just me preaching to myself and me just yapping about whatever. And I really hope that whoever needed to hear this, you know, was is able to now see that it is possible to condemn their anger, to resist the devil's attacks, and instead turn to a loving heart, to a loving mind, to a loving soul, instead of one that hates and wants to hurt. So, God bless, man.